KayFabe Smark Podcast. Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rompa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey, it is Thursday. Oh, dropped my button there.
Let's play overrated or underrated with Eric Todd.
It's a smooth
start to the podcast.
It's a smooth one. Let's start this again. It is Thursday. We are here live on YouTube, coming in hot, hitting the wrong buttons. Life is good. Make sure you guys check us out. This is the KayFabe Smark Podcast. Come hang out with us on all our social media platforms. That is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the KayFabe Smark. And once again, when you're on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Once again, you're tuned in to the KayFabe Smark Podcast, episode 75, coming at you on a Thursday, back at the regular scheduled program. We're going to talk AEW. It's been a little bit. They've been messing up the schedule. They've been putting things on Saturdays. But before we dig into all that, guess who we got to check in with? We got to check in with our buddy, Mr. Eric Todd. Eric, what's happening, buddy?
Oh, same old. Had to get out there. I thought I was going to be able to get away with not mowing my lawn anymore for the rest of the year. But no snow's coming, and the rain keeps coming. The grass keeps growing. So I had to get my ass out there in 55-degree weather and mow the lawn again. Crossing my fingers. Hopefully this is the last one.
Oh, buddy, mowing the lawn. Yeah, it's a little chilly out there to be mowing the lawn, but, yeah. What are we going to do? Next thing, going to be shoveling snow, so it's either mowing lawn or shoveling snow. Those are two things we got, raking leaves.
Oh, yeah, raking leaves is going to be a bitch. I got a giant tree that hovers above my yard, so, yeah, not looking forward to that one. Going to have to get out there and buy a leaf blower.
Eric, did you watch AEW this week, the Dynamite Halloween edition show?
I did. I watched Dynamite.
Dynamite.
And, interesting show, to say the least.
Sure, but before we unpack that, and before we get into all that, do you have news for us?
I do have a little bit of news. We did our last show last Sunday, so only 4 or 5 days ago, but news has trickled down since then. So we're going to start out with a little tidbit. John Moxley.
Well, hold on here. We can't have the news yet. I mean, we have not officially hit
the
ticker, my friend.
Rushing.
He's rushing. I was trying to set him up. I was trying to hand it to him, but it is the news. We are going to see what the world of professional wrestling has for us for news. Here we go. All right, now we can get to the news.
I drink my vodka, Boris. Get it? I'm Russian.
Russian.
Nah.
Double guns.
Double guns. John Moxley is set to release an autobiography simply titled Mox.
Oh.
The book is set to release on November 2nd, so just right around the corner. A little excerpt from the book description goes as follows. A vivid trip through the mind of the top professional wrestler in the business. Already with the comedy there.
Killing me.
A nobody from nowhere, that's about right, who achieved his ambitions and walked away with the gold and the girl of his dreams.
Trying to catch a little heat from the Mox, aren't you there, Mr. Eric Todd?
What a fucking joke. The top professional wrestler in the business.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big pat on his own back. He gave himself what we like to call, you put your right hand up in the air, you turn your palm back, and you pat yourself on the back, give yourself a little Barry Horowitz there. He gave himself a little Barry. That was, the top, I mean, he was a top sign at the time, but, okay, whatever.
But speaking of heat, Brian, Charlotte Flair, she's catching all them heat flames, ain't she?
Yes.
Apparently, after I think it was the previous, I don't know, it was one of them damn SmackDowns. Her and Becky Lynch got into it in the back, and the reaction of the other members of the WWE rosters, they were all behind Becky Lynch on this one. and they were looking to Becky Lynch as a quote-unquote hero for confronting Charlotte Flair. Becky Lynch is reported to have a strong reputation among fellow talent, and Flair's recent actions were the final straw for many following months of other issues. Flair reportedly isolates herself from the locker room, and very few talent are keen to work with her, especially now after the title exchange incident on SmackDown.
Yeah, did you see that? Did you watch the replays of that? I know you didn't tune into SmackDown, but, my friend, did you watch what happened in the ring?
I did not. It's been on my list because I read a lot about it.
So I watched it
recorded.
I watched it on social media platforms. They had them out there, so, I was scrolling through there. Basically, long story short here is there was supposed to be a title change because in the draft, Becky went to Raw and Charlotte went to SmackDown. But the problem, behold, they each have the opposite title. So the very creative way that WWE thought to get around this debacle was just to have them trade them in the ring. So we're not going to have them wrestle for it. We're not going to have them fight for something. We're not going to put them on the line, figure out a new title. This is a new season of their TV shows, as they call it, as they're starting it. They just said, come in the ring. Well, rumor has it that Becky was supposed to have both titles because she wants to be Becky 2 belts again.
Okay.
That's the gimmick. So in that, when she was supposed to grab it and keep her belt and grab Charlotte's belt, Charlotte said, "Nyah," and yeeted across the ring. Not like super far, but far enough where Becky couldn't. I mean, she threw it so Becky couldn't grab it. And it'd be like your older brother, putting his hand on your forehead and throwing something or whatever. It was she just big dicked her. Just said nope. And then the Sonya Deville, who was playing the mediator of it, pick it up. And she picked it up, and all they got was they got an even switch. Becky didn't get to do the 2-belt gimmick. She didn't get there. The rumor was that's what was supposed to happen, and there was a little bit of heat to the whole situation. So she's clearly not happy. She wants to leave. She's just seeing what she can get away with. She's just being a bitch. I'm not positive, but nonetheless, Charlotte's causing some heat and rocking some boats.
Yeah, and it is purely speculation. On one hand, she outshines so many of the other girls on that roster. On one hand, you're kind of like, she's a Flair. She can act like a Flair. She can be a biatch. It's her right since she's absolutely the best. But on the other hand, you got to have a little camaraderie in the locker room there, and just shitting on everybody around you leads you to believe she's trying to get released from her contract. Apparently, she has years left on her contract, and she's probably trying to get herself fired.
Possibly. Or she's just using social media and being a troll and starting the people to talk about her on the internet. Hey, here we are, if you're listening to the podcast. 2 guys talking about you. So you've done your job. Either way, it's professional wrestling, so she's trying to make a scene and make a name, and she's doing just that.
And since that report, WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair has been pulled from all of her media appearances this week following the backstage incident with Becky Lynch on last week's episode of SmackDown.
Oh.
The blame for this incident has been put on Charlotte, and there have been several alleged instances where Flair's behavior has become unacceptable and other talent, according to other talent behind the scenes.
So she acted a fool and got a day off. Cool. You didn't let she gets to sleep in and hang out. You're not catching a check from those media appearances, so what the hell? Who cares? Go enjoy your life. Go visit your boyfriend down there in AEW.
Now, big news is the WWE released its pay-per-view schedule for next year, and WrestleMania once again will be 2 nights, and tickets go on sale Friday, November 12th, so just 2 weeks away, and travel packages will be available Monday, November 8th. So WWE announced that tickets to WrestleMania will go on sale November 12th at 10 a.m. WrestleMania will take place over the course of 2 nights on Saturday, April 2nd, and Sunday, April 3rd from AT&T Stadium in Dallas/Arlington, Texas.
This is 100% money grab.
Oh, yeah,
That's
for sure.
All right, yeah. I mean, I'm like, why else? Why are they doing 2 nights? Like, I don't know. It seems like a money grab. They're going down to Texas. COVID doesn't exist in Texas, so
Right.
they're gonna cram all 100,000 people. Those are 200,000 in there. You can sell half your seat and sit on somebody's lap if you would like. So I think it's just a money grab. It seems kind of greedy. Is there the content there to put it on for 2 nights? Can you keep people's attention for 2 nights? This year worked because year previous we kind of got screwed with like an arena or a empty show, or when nobody knew how to do empty shows at the time. So, anyways, I don't know. I think this is kind of crappy, but I also hate a 6-hour WrestleMania as well on Sundays. They're like, WrestleMania starts at 4:00 and it's go till 1 in the morning. It's like, oof, God, I got shit to do, guys.
Yeah, these long pay-per-views are getting out of control. Crown Jewel, for instance, was a tad over 4 hours. And with all the bullshit they crammed in there, that could have been a 2-hour pay-per-view if done right.
Well, shit, if you count the pre-show, it was probably 5.5 hours. There was a whole nother match we didn't watch and all the stuff that they did to explain what was going to happen. So, yeah, if you watch all the content leading up to it, it'd be a busy day. You just lose your attention. Loses my attention. So, I don't know. It was a cool idea, but I don't think it's something they should stick with. But
who knows? It's still a little ways away,
yeah,
and probably about 6 months away or so. So we'll see what happens in the meantime, and we'll see if it's going to be 2 3-hour nights. That's still a 6-hour WrestleMania. It's going to be a tough spot to fill.
Yeah, then all their other pay-per-views, too, were all like, or not all of the pay-per-views, but they released like an ungodly amount of arena shows this year, or didn't they?
Yeah, they're going ham on them.
Yeah, in the pay-per-view schedule, they had like 10 or so of them. I screenshotted it. Let me pull it up here real quick. I got it right in front of me here. I'm going to my screenshots. And then, so they got an arena show on January 1st. They got Royal Rumble at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis on the 29th of January. Saturday, and we already talked about that, at WrestleMania, April 2nd and 3rd. Sunday, May 8th, the pay-per-view. There's a pay-per-view at Dunkin' Donuts Center Arena. They got June 5th at the Allstate in Chicago. July 2nd, Money in the Bank at in Las Vegas at their stadium. So, I mean, it's just stadium. July 30th in Nashville Stadium. September 3rd, there's to be determined. They got another one, and then Survivor Series, the Boston Garden on the 26th of November. So they're going like 10 shows, all big arena shows, like stadium style. I keep saying arena, stadium. That's even bigger.
Right. Even though on their normal live events here with Raw, SmackDown, whatever, they're not even filling arenas. So I don't know. There's so many variables, and everything's just up in the air. We got to see. Obviously, WrestleMania will sell out, but it would be kind of funny to see a Royal Rumble with like 8,000 people in attendance.
I think they got a little big. My guess is they got big for their britches, if you will. SummerSlam was huge this year. But they hadn't done real big live shows, in over a year and a half. So they came out and said, hey, let's go big. Went to Vegas or wherever it was and had a big arena show for some. That was the biggest SummerSlam you've seen maybe since like the Wembley Stadium one in like 91 or whatever that was. So that was crazy. Right. So then they sold that out, but people were itching to get out. We're planning already up more of these stadium shows all the way up to next November. People are going to get bored.
Yeah, and you and I will be down in Detroit on December 27th at the Little Caesars Arena for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, so watch for the KayFabe Smark signs in the crowd because your boys will be in attendance.
And we'll be self-promoting. Who knows? We might have merch by then.
Maybe
At least 2 shirts.
At least 2, maybe 2
a
hoodies.
medium and a 2X.
Yeah, some shirts and some hoodies. At least 2 of them, 2 of each.
The end of Bray Wyatt's no compete clause is right around the corner here. On Wednesday, Bray Wyatt tweeted out, and I quote, 2 more days. This is the amount of time left on his non-compete clause in his WWE contract. Impact Wrestling and AEW have shown interest in signing Bray Wyatt, but there is no indication of where he will sign.
The Impact thing is still blowing my Braun Strowman, Adam Shear, whatever you want to call him, he's like, that's like where he's really leaning hard at. I mean, they're offering him where are they getting the money?
They're going to end up in a Ring of Honor situation here where, spoiler alert, that's going to be my final story. But
yeah. And so it's just crazy. And then, they're like, I mean, this is The Fiend. This is Bray Wyatt. This is, I mean, he was on top of the world. And they're like, Impact's like, yeah, I think we might. We're pretty interested in you. What?
Who knows? Maybe they're using the leverage of Adam Scherr and Wyndham Rotunda here, maybe to strike a TV deal to get on some other network that'll get you more than 10,000 viewers a week.
Yeah, where they used to be on the Outdoor Network at one point. So, I mean, this isn't the Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff era of Impact TNA wrestling where they had a moment of shine going on. This is post-COVID empty arena shows. God knows who owns you and where you're at and your name, and you still have a TNA championship, but you call yourself Impact. I think they got to get this shit straight.
And somehow they pull the Iconics. So I don't know. Who knows what they got in the books? But with the Iconics and with Adam Scherr and with Bray Wyatt, they might be able to pull something out of their ass. But they keep pulling 5,000-10,000 viewers a week. There's no way they're going to be able to pay them forever. They're just going to end up in the same situation they were in before.
My God. I see people on TikTok in the live section playing piano and singing and doing ventriloquist shit, and they've got 8,000 people in their room. Like, Impact should just cut their losses, grab an iPhone, turn that bitch sideways, and stream that shit on TikTok.
Yeah, at least on TikTok you can send GIFs and whatnot.
Yeah!
So, yeah, you get 20,000 people in there watching an episode of TikTok, you know they're going to be raking in the cash while they're watching it.
Yeah, man, they can send some roses and collect some diamonds and shoot an Eiffel Tower in there or whatever the big one is today, and they'll be cleaning up. Oh, boy. Anyways, we continue on.
Continuing on.
Could be a
JR.
whole show. Could be a whole show in itself, me getting all riled up about that.
Old JR is getting into the cannabis game, Brian. He's going to be Jim Ross, of all people of Oklahoma, is going to be slanging weed. WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross, who has recently diagnosed with skin cancer, as we talked about last show, revealed he will be partnering with his daughter, his son-in-law, and a lawyer in the project. And I quote, "My youngest daughter and her husband and I and another guy, a lawyer, are getting ready to start a cannabis farm. We're looking at the working title of Black Hat Farms. I bought some land in Oklahoma recently for the grow houses and all the things. That's going to be their life. That's a big deal."
Well, I mean, he's got land. They've got an idea. He can make some money. Everybody wins. Why not? Clean up while it's there.
Good old clean-cut JR.
He'll sell you some weed-infused barbecue sauce in a few years. You can get your THC barbecue sauce. You can get stoned and eat chicken wings all at the same time.
Smoking blunts and popping blue chews. Oh, JR. Out there pimping the game. We talked about Hacksaw Jim Duggan on the last show, and he has revealed since that he does indeed have prostate cancer.
Oh, fuck.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan and his wife Deborah revealed the news on Instagram in a video announcing that he's known about the cancer for a few months. Duggan is scheduled to undergo cancer surgery this Friday at the Medical University of South Carolina. His wife plans to keep fans updated on his condition. So, yeah, big props to Jim Duggan. Best wishes out to him.
Oof. That's rough. That's scary stuff. Yeah. God bless. Godspeed. Get through that surgery and come home safe and give us a big hoo.
And we go from sad news to happy news here. WWE fans have been recently turning on MSK at shows, with the pair of baby faces getting boos from the crowds during NXT shows. There have been several reports about a group of fans that have been intending to sabotage the team on TV tapings with boos reportedly initiated by the parents of a superfan named Izzy, who has been attending shows for years. WWE, not a big fan of their baby faces getting booed. They've taken to Twitter to try and encourage fans to cheer on MSK, tweeting out, WWE tweeted out their main account, "Show love for MSK," with a heart emoji.
Excuse me, I had to cough there. No. These people sound wonderful. These sound like my friends. These sound like KayFabe Smark diehards from the beginning. They didn't even know they are fans of our podcast. My God, if you know who these people are, share the podcast because I love booing the babyface and cheering the heel at live shows. I love being a full-on mark in the audience and getting people worked up, and it is a blast. So, man, these guys sound amazing. This sounds like something we would do.
This is exactly what we would do if we were there. We would boo the living shit out of MSK. I don't hate the guys, but WWE wants them to be baby faces so bad, and yeah, that's not how we play our game.
No way. And then they begged it on, that's like getting your mom to come out to them and be like, your mom to come stick up for you as a teenager in a fight or something. You better get your shit tight there, guys. Just work with it. Remember when WWE used to just kind of roll with the punches and the crowd would kind of dictate who was what and where was, what was happening a little bit? You would play to it. Why don't they just make them uber baby faces and have them throw tantrums? That would be funnier than saying, hey, cheer MSK. That's what I say they should, they should kind of play with it, but they're not. They just say, stop it. That's not how it goes. They got used to not having people at the shows, and they're getting their minds screwed up now. They don't know how to handle it again.
Yeah, they could throw the Kurt Angle turn on there or whatever. So it's just like, yeah, just go ultra babyface so that essentially you're a heel and people will boo you because you're trying to be a babyface so hard. I don't think WWE's thinking that far ahead. I think this is just like you said. It's just on the surface. Basically, mommy, they're bullying me.
Yeah, make them stop it. Ooh, that's a rough one there, MSK.
We will talk about AEW Dynamite here in a moment, and we will talk about the Ultra Elite coming out in their Ghostbusters gimmick. But the Ghostbusters gimmick was not the original plan. It is being reported by Fightful Select that the decision to have the Elite dress up like the Ghostbusters on AEW Dynamite was a late change from the original plans. Originally, AEW was going to have the Elite use a Squid Game-inspired entrance/costume combination. However, either Warner Media or TNT officials reportedly got wind of the plans and nixed them before the show hit the air. There was reportedly heat over the idea of them parodying Squid Games. So it was decided to change it to Ghostbusters, complete with an original parody of the theme for the Elite.
Yeah, so that explains it then, because I did not see that part, but I did scroll, as I was scrolling through TikTok, there was a guy on there that said, this is how we produced the Young Bucks theme song in under 2 hours to sound like Ghostbusters, and he had the whole thing laid out, and he was producing it right there on the screen, and I don't know if he was bullshitting or not, but it was the same goddamn song that they played on the show, so nonetheless, that explains at least the story that's going with that. I wonder, do you think they didn't want to get Squid Games mad at them for a parody? Do you think it was because the show's uber violent, ultra violent, that TV show, that they didn't want to get their, tied up with that, or didn't want to piss Korea off? What do you think where they at here?
I don't know. I was just going with the super basic explanation. They didn't want to promote a Netflix show.
Yeah, well, that could be too. Now, yeah, it just seemed like a weird thing to be like, no, we don't like that. But Ghostbusters, I mean, I don't know. But anyways.
Who knows? Maybe Warner has their fingers in the Ghostbusters game. They've got everything else.
Right.
And our big news of the week, Brian, Ring of Honor announced it has released all in-ring talent from their contracts and confirmed that its December pay-per-view Final Battle will serve as its last event before entering a hiatus. All the talent that's under contract, they are again released, but their releases do not go into effect until the end of the year.
Yeah, and they're from what I understand and have read, they can start working immediately at the beginning of the year. So as soon as the year ticks over here in the next couple months, boom, boom, they're free to go and do as they will. So there's no 90-day clause. They got to sit at home and do nothing. So at least they did that for them, I guess.
So yeah, Danhausen, Jay Lethal.
The Briscoes.
There's some names over there.
The Briscoes.
The Briscoes for sure.
There's a handful. There's definitely a handful. Flip Gordon. There's some guys over there. I was going through the roster earlier and looking at it going. Pfft. So my I won't say worry. This is not going to keep me up at night. But my worry for Ring of Honor is the tick of 22, the guys are allowed to go do whatever they want, work wherever they want, however they want. Ring of Honor is not planning to come back until like April or May, from what I've read. So, people are going to get snagged up. Impact's going to grab a few guys. AEW is probably going to grab a few guys. WWE may even sign some guys to some developmental stuff. I'm not positive. They're in a whole weird shift over there with what they're looking for and in that, but you figure somebody over there is going to get grabbed up, right?
Right.
Then Ring of Honor goes to relaunch. Like who's
going to be left?
Especially like if your top guys, your Jay Lethals, your Briscoes, Flip is still in my mind. Bully Ray is over there. Like, he could go get gobbled up and be a producer in WWE in seconds.
Right.
So it's just you come back and what do you have to build? What are you going to take a hiatus for? And then when you're done with your hiatus, you go, we're going to go back to work. Shit, we don't have any employees.
Who knows? Maybe they're going to start from scratch and pull a bunch of independent talent and just go back to their roots.
Maybe. Who knows? But it just seems like it could be detrimental. But maybe there's a long-term plan. They're not. Maybe they've already started, so maybe there's something in the works. Be interesting. Maybe it can come back and be better. Maybe they can get a good TV deal somewhere as well. Maybe they can get a good streaming deal on a platform and make it easy to watch. Get linked up with somebody. Get a Hulu deal.
The NWA route, yeah.
If they can get involved with somebody that's a free thing, that's already included in a package. If you can get on a Hulu or your show's released weekly on Netflix or something that everybody already has that you don't have to go get another thing for, that's huge, Or they just go, like you said, go the NWA route and get their own thing on Fight TV, and you pay your $4.99 to watch it, and for a month, and you can watch 4 or 5 shows, and who knows. So I hope they come back good. I did enjoy Ring of Honor when I was watching it. I understand empty shows killed it for everybody and made it hard to watch, but I hope they can come back and get something going.
Yeah, only time will tell. And as time's telling right now, that's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news. Ring of Honor possibly going out of business. Who knows what's happening over there? We'll see in the spring. What else happened over there? Oh, yeah. And then Bray Wyatt, God knows where he's going. There was some other stuff too, but it is better now. We will spend our time doing our favorite game show.
Let's play Overrated or Underrated with Eric Todd.
All right, overrated or underrated with Eric Todd. He's ready to go. He's got his background up. If you're not watching on YouTube, get your shit together. Stop being a silly goose and go subscribe now to the KayFabe Smark on YouTube. And join us live when we do this. You get a little notification. And there you go. Now, we are going to do overrated, underrated, hybrid tag teams.
Oh, you
'Cause
mean like the mismatch whatevers like we were talking about last week?
Yeah, that's what gave it in my head. We talked about them on the last show that I said they sucked, and I was never a fan of them, but that was when they just seemed slapped together. You know, your AJ Styles and Omos or your whatever. So, now these are some more memorable ones. Overrated or underrated? Hybrid tag team number 1, the Rock and Sock Connection.
Ooh. I think that one's going to be underrated, Brian. A lot of people, including myself, didn't really see how that could work in its beginning stages, but just that natural chemistry between Mick Foley and The Rock, it's unmatched. I don't think you're going to find a better hybrid tag team than the Rock and Sock Connection. So no matter what, that's going to be an underrated hybrid tag team.
For me, it worked so well because they were so different. The Rock was so clean cut and in shape and an athlete. And Mankind, Mick Foley, was wild hair, wore sweatpants, a white shirt and tie that he had on for 6.5 years, and, you know, was not your traditional cut athlete. So that's why it worked so well for me. Team number 2 in your overrated, underrated hybrid tag teams, rated RKO. That's Edge and Randy Orton.
Oh, man, it is hard to find any way to shit on them two, and putting them together as a tag team, it had so many different ways that it could have imploded. But for me, it just worked because as far as on the babyface side of things, I've loved Edge forever. During all the TLC things of the late 90s, early 2000s, Edge was my man. And Randy Orton, I've been a Randy Orton mark since the inception, since he was a green piece of crap mark who thought he was better than everyone else. I've loved Randy Orton. So, yeah, anything with these two involved, in my eyes, is going to be underrated.
I have to agree with you. Here's a fun one for you. Are we going to overrate or underrate this tag team hybrid? Jericho. Chris Jericho and The Big Show.
I fucking hated Jericho. Now, Chris Jericho, very entertaining, very obnoxious, and when he wants to be, and Big Show, personality-wise, I've just never really felt Big Show. And putting them two together, I understand you're trying to rub off some of Jericho's charisma on Big Show, and it just didn't work for me. So they were impressive to look at, but I think overrated as a unit.
Overrated on the Jericho. Here we go. Overrated, underrated, hybrid tag teams. The Mega Powers.
We didn't get to see enough of the Mega Powers, Brian. I think the Mega Powers ended up being overrated because it was too big. Too big to work. In fact, not too big to fail. These two were just, if you tried to push them as a tag team long term, and they're both two of the top stars in the business, nobody would legitimately be able to beat them. And I don't know. It was just too much in one package for me, and ended up being an overrated tag team.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Definitely overrated. And when you said we didn't have enough of them, that's 100%. You didn't have enough. People put the Mega Powers on this pedestal like they were something for years, and they fought like 3 times together.
Yeah.
I mean, on TV, they may have done the whole house show circuit, but, you know, that's worth what it is. Overrated, underrated, Team Hell No. Kane and Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, whatever we would like to call them these days.
This seemed to mark part of the beginning of the comedy era of wrestling for me. And as you guys know, if you're fans of the show, I'm not a big fan of comedy wrestling. And Daniel Bryan and Kane together, just, I didn't feel it. They have great chemistry together, but it was just too much of a goofy gimmick bullshit thing for me. So in my eyes, Team Hell No would be overrated.
Overrated. Team Hell No. I can't disagree with you. Last one. This is a bonus one for you because it's just a little fun. Overrated, underrated, hybrid tag teams. D-Generation X. Version 2. Remember when they disbanded and then came back finally after all these years? They just became a tag team all of a sudden. D-Generation X, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, version 2.0 of DX as a tag team. What did you think of that?
I loved them. It's just charisma, just out the ass. The formula DX had, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, was what the Mega Powers could have been if the mixture, if the brew, if the recipe was mixed correctly. And DX is, to me, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, the perfect tag team, and they'll always be underrated.
Underrated in the D-Generation X tag team. I'm with you. I love DX no matter which way you slice them. They were loud, cocky, and obnoxious, just like two other idiots I know that like to talk on the internet about wrestling.
And let me flip the script on you real quick,
Uh-oh.
Brian. I'm gonna throw a hybrid tag team at you from the new era, Team RK Bro. We already know my feelings on RK Bro. You, in the past, have been known to be a Matt Riddle fan, so I'm interested to know your theory on Team RK Bro.
I think that tag team is not good. Overrated. I don't think they deserve to be where they're at and doing what they're doing. It was funny for a night, maybe, a couple things, but then now they're the tag team. They're tag team champions. I don't mind Matt Riddle. I don't mind him as a single star. Obviously, Randy Orton is a god of professional wrestling, right? But as a tag team, this just seemed like they ran out of stuff. It was like the year of Randy Orton, right? From like 2019 through ending this year, the 2 years of Randy Orton. He ran wild on the company again out of nowhere. All puns intended. Matt Riddle, they seems like they ran out of stuff to do with Randy. Matt Riddle, they didn't have much going on with, so they just slapped them together. Just, hey, you two, we need to keep you on TV. Here you go. You work with him. Or they're not happy with Riddle, and they've slapped him with RKO to teach him a lesson and get his game tight. So, but either way, I don't care for the tag team. They're both good single stars in this situation. It doesn't work like Edge and Randy Orton.
No, and these fans, for some reason, eat it up, and it boils my blood, Brian.
You know, these new fans at professional wrestling like to be included. So if they can have a spot to do their cheer and yell, bro, and they feel a part of the show and, they love it. So I think that's why Riddle is getting over as well as he is. His backstage, as a wrestler, I think he's good. His backstage segments suck and he needs a lot of work. So we continue on. I think it's overrated.
Overrated. And that was Overrated, Underrated with Eric Todd. And you still haven't made an outro for that, have you?
Nope, but I think I just got my sound bite. Let me go ahead and note that at 41 minutes here. We've got Eric saying it. I can just copy that and play it. All right, now it is time to talk AEW. It's been a little bit, been about 2 weeks since we reported on them because those crazy bastards decided out of nowhere to put shit on Saturday nights for some reason. I think the hockey got in the way. It was openings for the 2021-22 hockey season, TNT, and then because they're getting booted to TBS here in a few months or a few weeks, right?
Yeah, I believe at the beginning of next year they'll be booted over to TBS. And in the meantime, it looks like hockey was taking over the entire Wednesday night and last night, for some reason. They're advertising the shit out of basically hockey comes on right after Dynamite's done. So who knows if that's going to be the trend until January.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be the trend until January. You're getting a big segment of the country that can still watch their hockey on the West Coast on TNT at your traditional time because they'll just watch a re-airing of Dynamite later, right, following the hockey game, so they can reschedule the West Coast that way And I think it's the best thing for it. Flipping it around is not going to help your young brand. This brand is still only 2 years old.
Right.
So you're going to be putting them over on Saturdays. They're on TBS. They're over here. They're over there. Where are you? I'm over here now. Nobody can find them, and it's people are going to get bored and stop watching. I didn't get a chance to watch those Saturday shows. I'm always busy on Saturday nights, and the next thing you know, it's Monday, then you're into the week, and you go, shit, it's Wednesday again, right? Saturday, and then it was going to pop or whatever. So I don't know. I just didn't get a chance to watch them, and I just read the results online. So it screwed up my watching.
But it was nice to see Dynamite right back where it belongs, Wednesday nights. Hopefully that's where it's at to stay, because if I'm forced to watch another episode of NXT anytime in the near future, I may just gouge my eyes out with a grapefruit spoon.
I ran into our good friend of the show, Mr. Andrew, and we were chatting on Saturday about NXT, and he goes, I heard the show where you guys watched the first reveal of the new NXT. I said, yes. Well, that was the first show Eric watched of it. That was my second show. And he goes, he was all in NXT guy. And he is all out NXT guy now. There's some good there's some good talent in there, but the show that they're putting together, you can't figure out what it is. They're still holding on to the remnants of an old show. They're trying to build a new show. Nobody knows what's happening, and it seems overproduced for a low-quality show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically OVW and just with the production value of a SmackDown or a Monday Night Raw, and it's ridiculous is what it is.
But we didn't watch that because it was not very exciting and trashed out, and now we're going to talk about AEW and see what they have to offer for us. See how they cleanse the palate, taking a couple weeks off.
So AEW, as for their opening match, you couldn't ask for a more technically sound, well put together match. And that match was between CM Punk and our boy, formerly of NXT, Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish, CM Punk. I was surprised to see this got put on where it got put on the show. A nice opening match, but that's a good grab. It wasn't your boys, the Young Bucks, taking in that first slot.
That's what I was going to say. CM Punk seemed to come over and take over the Young Bucks opening spot there now, but it hasn't hurt them at all. They seem to be hovering around the main event status now. So everything's working out. CM Punk is bringing in the viewers right at the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah, why not go with the big name? I mean, God bless. He's there. Use him. Have fun. I'm confused. Do you think he's just going to keep flipping it back and forth between pants and panties in his ring attire?
Maybe he's just trying to figure out what he likes more, but who knows? Maybe he's just keeping us on our toes. I'm a big fan of the panties. CM Punk and pants is a little odd to me.
Old pumpkin pants is what they call them. Now, let's talk about this match. What's the high spots? What's the low spots? Where you at?
All right. So like I said at the beginning, as for a technically sound match, this was it. Their strikes, super realistic. They look super stiff. Their holds are nice. Their reversals are smooth. My thing is, yes, Bobby Fish is a very high level competitor, but his name isn't up there. And to make him this was like a 20-25 minute match, it felt like.
Yeah, this was like your almost first whole segment of the show was this match. Like first one was the first half.
They pushed a Bobby Fish CM Punk like it was like a WrestleMania main event, and it's just not. And I think they're kind of screwing the Punk on this whole gimmick here. Maybe it's Punk's choice, but basically these schlubs that he's wrestling, with the exception of a Powerhouse Hobbs, the Daniel Garcias, the Bobby Fishes, it's not exciting because we know Punk isn't going to lose to these guys. So it's kind of like they're just sticking them on TV and letting them have fun, and they're not using him to his full potential. You put him in there with some higher name people, some more well-respected names, and that would really bring in the viewers that you're trying to bring in.
Yeah, I mean, you get Bryan Danielson come in and say, I'm going right for the title. Christian came in and went right for the title. And Punk comes in and challenges, Cherry Garcia to a wrestling match. And it's like, the Bobby Fish I can get. He's been around a minute. The independent scene was a thing. AEW is big in their independent fan base that they have, that they're drawing from. I give you a little bit on that one. But to make him, like you said, he's wrestling nobodies. And I don't know if it's shaking the ring rust or if they're just using them to draw some names and put them in an easy little match. But eventually you either got to have them shit or get off the pot.
Right. Like, I don't know if they think he just has the Midas touch and guys who deserve a rub, like Bobby Fish, if we put him in the ring with Punk, he's automatically a big name. And people will think of him as a title contender. That's not quite how it works. Punk's not bringing up these names in the way he wants to. It's kind of going in reverse. These low-level competitors, the Danny Garcias, the Bobby Fish, again, no offense to Bobby Fish, great competitor, just not a huge name right now. They're actually bringing Punk's star power down.
Yeah, unless they're going for something, because last night what I did notice is that they were pushing that Punk is still undefeated in AEW. Now, if they're going to go and lean on that rankings matter, this is a rankings matter, wrestling association, then maybe there's something there that they can build him up and say, hey, listen, I've been here, I've been doing this. I didn't come in and just demand it. I've come in and proven it again and again. They could be working a long-term storyline. They could be playing a little chess with us. AEW has not been known to do that, but the possibility is there that's the angle they're going to work at there. So I did notice them saying that and pushing that he's undefeated still.
Yeah, and I think I saw Bobby Fish's record. He's like 5-2 already, and homeboy just debuted a couple weeks ago, so he's already losing matches. So who knows what direction they're going? But if we can circle back to the match here, like I said, their strikes, their holds, their reversals, all flawless. Punk selling like absolutely crazy. Bobby Fish was staying on that left leg constantly, and Punk was absolutely committed to selling that left leg. Lots of pen attempts in this match, which kind of gives you the subtle impression that these guys, their actual goal is to get the pin and get the win. This isn't just a exhibition Cirque du Soleil art show out there,
Cirque du Soleil. That's when you know Eric's loving a wrestling match, when it's some Cirque du Soleil bullshit. So he enjoyed this one, folks. He enjoyed this one. As did I. They definitely couldn't really do any wrong for me on this one. They would have to really screw up. And they didn't. They came out and put on a good traditional wrestling match and kept me entertained for the solid 20 minutes that it was on. I mean, they gave him a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah. The only bad thing about the time was, again, you got a guy who's 5-2 without a huge name, keeping Punk keeping him fully occupied, keeping his hands full for the entire 20 minutes. But again, performance flawless. Punk still selling the knee, even when he's on the top rope going for an elbow drop. You notice he came off of one leg there. Bobby Fish hit an amazing reversal when Punk tried to hit him with the GTS. Bobby Fish turned that into a dragon screw and followed it immediately, like no hesitation, with a sliding clothesline for a near pin. Punk does get a GTS pretty much out of nowhere, hits Bobby Fish with his left knee, and again he's selling the knee, gets the pin, and Bobby Fish, just to keep himself looking good, kicked out a millisecond. He may have even kicked out before the ref's hand hit the mat, but it was pretty much on the spot. 3 count, Fish kicked out.
I instinctively, as soon as I saw this, I instinctively was like, oh my God, I'm going to press.
Turner's a moron.
Because Paul Turner was the referee. And we all know, if you haven't listened to the show, 75 episodes, I've said
Turner's a moron.
and agreed with Chris Jericho that Turner's a moron. Now, either one of two things happened. Fish went for the late kick out and to keep himself up, or Paul Turner was 1 second ahead or 1 second behind. So the timing was just off on the pin and the finish, so it kind of made everybody on the internet was shitting on the ref, Paul Turner, saying that he botched the count. Personally, I don't think that he did on this. After really watching it again and again, it was just too close to call, but he didn't screw it up. For him to screw it up, he would have had to have said, hit the 3, and then said it was only 2. Then it would have been confusion in the ring. When in doubt, I say the ref hits the 3, rings the bell, and moves on. And was like, hey, that was my call. That's that first base umpire. Nope, he was out. He was safe. I'm calling out. We're moving on, right? It's just...
Right. And it worked out really well. Bobby Fish came out looking like $1 million out of this match.
Yeah. As much as I want to yell at Paul Turner's an idiot, I think he did okay on this one. It wasn't all his fault. It was just a little mistiming is all it was.
Then we move on. We get a short little backstage segment from Malachi Black. And, he's just picking apart Cody and his family. And Malachi's still holding a grudge against the Rhodes clan.
Yeah, I liked this a month and a half ago.
Not bad.
A month and a half ago, I liked this. They
Right.
fought 3 times, or what? They fought 2 or 3 times now. He fought everybody. He kicked Brock Anderson in the head. He kicked Arn Anderson's head off. He fought Lee Johnson. I mean, he decimated everybody, and he's still mad at him. Like, what do you want? Like, when is it over? And then he gets beat on Rampage last week. So Cody comes and finally gets the win over him. Like, nope, we're not moving on from this. We're just gonna stay with it. Like, when does it blow off? When does this come to the breaking point and then turn and then go somewhere in a new direction? They haven't done any of that yet. It's just he beats everybody. He finally loses. Then he wants to face him again, and Cody basically accepts, and it just is weird. I didn't care. I'm kind of over this.
It was set up well and it started well, but at this point, it's just kind of dragging.
Yeah, the old dragon ass is what they call it. So, once again, guys, make sure you hop on over to all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe and share on YouTube. Hit the notification bell, and let's talk professional wrestling inside the social media platform, as Facebook is now referring to it as the metaverse. But once again, that's all of our social media platforms. Hop on those. Let's have some fun. Eric, you got your notes back up over there?
I do. Good read on that, Brian. I was trying to keep it as secretive as possible.
75 shows, my man. I can read your eyeballs. I know what's happening. I'll plug in some social media stuff, and we'll keep it on rolling.
So, I am back up. Just a little behind the scenes. I use 2 monitors here, and once in a while, for some reason, they since they're connected wirelessly, they just decide they don't want to work together anymore.
That's
Get
all
a
right.
little heat between the 2 monitors.
That's all right. Last week on Sunday in the middle of the show, my computers just shut down, and we had to start over again in the middle of the show. So we got that going for us. So life rolls on. Subscribe to all of our social media platforms, and let's hit the next match.
Yeah, moving on. Speaking of things that shut down, we got MJF. They were pushing the hell out of MJF is in action this week, Brian. And turns out he was in action against Bryce Donovan, the hometown hero from Boston.
Oh, yeah. Any relation to Ray Donovan, as JR said. This was so much of a squash match that I completely forgot that the match happened, and I just remember his promo work afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think MJF in action meant this match at all. I just think they wanted to get old Bryce Donovan some 10 seconds of TV time because it was a handshake, a Irish whip, and an extremely stiff Irish whip, and then a pendulum pile driver, and it was a wrap for old Brycey boy. And then we go into the real action, which is MJF's promo. And goddamn, Brian, MJF's promos just I love him. This kid I call him a kid because he's in his early mid-20s. He is just way ahead of his time, way ahead of how far he should be at his age.
Man, but as great as he is, if you boil him down, and I'm not shitting on him by any means, they're simple. They're the simplest promos you've ever heard. It is a formulaic promo. Shits on where he's at. Shits on the crowd. Shits on the arena. And shits on his future opponent. And that's it. It's just a lot of negative preaching and then really praises himself and his buddies.
And the only difference, anybody could say the words that MJF says. They're very easy to come up with. You or I could.
I mean, yeah, I can read, right?
We could write a promo that's very similar to that. But MJF believes what he says. At least it comes off that way.
There's what you like to call the it factor.
Right.
And there's that thing that nobody can explain, but it's just there. And it's that. He's MJF. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, never heard of him until 2 years ago. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who MJF was. I dabbled into some independent stuff. But I just, shit happens. I didn't know about him. I was sleeping on MJF. But when he debuted, I went, maybe in a knock, is he a Miz knockoff? Kind of got that pretty boy look to him. And then you went, this guy's a superstar. I was sold on him from the beginning. I went, wow, this guy's good. And he is good. He's kept proving it for 2 years.
And he knows it. It wasn't really newsworthy, but just going through social media and shit over the past couple weeks, there's an interview he did where he's praising the hell out of Roman Reigns. And he's like, I've only got this many years or this many months left on my contract with AEW. Who knows? I might be fighting Roman Reigns in the next year or so for the title. He knows it. He can say whatever he wants because he knows if Tony Khan ever got a hard-on for him and cut him loose, which would be idiotic, he could just snap his fingers and every other promotion in the world would jump at a chance to sign him.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think Tony Khan's that dumb. I think he's encouraging these guys to go out and create these social media, clips, these sound bites. And it goes around, and people go, AEW star MJF, it gets reported on Fightful Select or Bleacher Report, and the links get shared around, and they get pushed around from Twitter to Facebook and Instagram, and they're all over the place. And then people know what AEW is. It's just a brand thing again. It's some old-school Carney-style branding. You're standing out there going, step right up, come one, come all, watch the big strong man wrestle the alligator. Like, it's just the way it is. He's like, I'll go over there and do it. And people are going, oh, he's not going to fight Roman Reigns. People know Roman Reigns, so it's smart. I'm going to draw some eyes, bring some people over.
Yeah, but back to the promo here, just like you said, Brian, he's following a formula. It's just the infliction he has. He believes what he says. He shits all over Boston. Says their women are all fat and he wouldn't touch the ring rats in Boston. He shits on their accents, mocking their moms, saying, Hada, MJF, Hada. Goes on about Darby Allin, and MJF he's going to insert himself into the actual title picture and maybe get himself the AEW championship. We get a funny little prank here. Sting's music hits. The crowd absolutely erupts. And it turns out it was just a little prank from MJF and Sean Spears here. Nobody comes out. MJF on his back, kicking his feet and laughing like a complete goof. I loved it.
I loved it. And then we go over into another weird promo. A video package rolls. And that stupid little concert scene with Darby Allin, and what the fuck was that about?
I don't know. That confused the living shit out of me. But it was just, who was he attacking? Was it like an MJF lookalike or something he was putting through a table?
Yeah, they were like, is that MJF? And then Darby, they're like at, they look like they were at a high school gym. I've been to some shithole concert venues. That was a small one there. Somebody's mom's basement hosting a concert, and then they slammed them through there, and then he says, now it's time to attack you physically, and then, surprise, surprise, guess who's in the ring?
Lights come back on, and the Stinger is in the ring. At this point, Shawn Spears, I've never seen a wrestler.
I was wondering if you were going to do, I know exactly what you're talking about, because if you weren't, I was, and we are on the same page.
In the 36 years I've been watching wrestling, Brian, Shawn Spears is holding his chair against his back like a goddamn turtle shell. And that's how he's just holding his chair, coincidentally, so Sting can hit him in the back with a baseball bat and not hurt him.
Now, I give him the idea I think they were going to look for, that he was in that ready-to-swing position, but nobody's ever stood with it that far back. There could have been some timing worked out with that, where he had it over his head, and then he went to swing, or he was doing, and he went to, I don't know, they could have worked it, but he just, like you said, he's just standing there wearing it like a backpack.
It was completely unnatural, right?
100%. It was noticeable, too, because I was like, Sting's going to two-hand him across the back, and then you heard the chair hit, and I went,
And right after the chair shot to Shawn Spears' chair, the baseball bat shot to Shawn Spears' chair, Wardlow gets a baseball bat to the chin, catches the end of it. MJF, chicken shit heel, out the gates. There's a strange fellow standing in the audience behind MJF, wearing a mask on his face and a trench coat and a hat. And that wasn't a fan, Brian.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little thrown off that it could have been a fan in an Invisible Man costume where they had the ace bandage and the things on. Because there were a handful of fans dressed up in some gimmicks. There was a guy dressed up like IRS. You saw the guy dressed up like The Fiend out there. There was a handful of costumes and wrestling things. But this was a little like, I mean, he was dead center on the camera. He knew, you know what I'm saying? The light was, everything was just a little too perfectly timed. So then obviously my eyeball's drawn right to this character.
Yeah, they got me. I'm not going to lie. I just assumed it was just another fan in the crowd. And then turns out Darby Allin peels off his mask, peels off his trench coat, and chases MJF off. And we're going to get Darby Allin and MJF at Full Gear.
Now, what I thought they could have done better with this is actually had MJF, had Darby Allin in the seats of the crowd, had him in the front row, and had MJF maybe start to go through the crowd. Then it looks like a fan's attacking him, or the fans are getting in the way, but it's really Darby Allin. But he was so far back, he was like 3 or 4 people back, so that he couldn't get to MJF. So by the time he unraveled his face with the ace bandage, then MJF saw that it was Darby Allin and then hit the bricks. So he did all this hiding and this surprise to not really get your hands on him, because by the time he got through the barricade, MJF was up the ramp and then just screamed Full Gear to him. So
right.
They didn't physically get, so the surprise to me wasn't that big a deal. If you didn't physically get to attack him, what was the point of the surprise? You didn't get to blindside him or nothing. But
yeah, all it ended up achieving was showing MJF talks a big game, but he's a chicken shit heel at heart.
Sure. Who wants to get hit with thumbtacks on a skateboard? I'm getting the hell out of Dodge, too.
We get a title match for our next segment, Brian. We've got Ethan Page challenging Sammy Guevara for that TNT championship. And this thing just, they had to sprinkle the AEW all over it. Guevara rushes Ethan Page right off the bat to kick things off. Guevara hits a flawless corkscrew dive over the top rope. Sammy Guevara and Ethan Page, they have been brawling inside of the ring, outside of the ring, all over the place for a solid 3 minutes. And the announcers say, this match hasn't even officially started. When does the fucking thing start? I thought it was when they got in the ring, but they fought in the ring for a while.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, I got just as confused watching this, because at the same moment, my wife and kids came home. And they opened up the door, and then my kids were talking, and I was watching it. I was like, okay, I get that. I can keep my eye on this. I can chat with the kids after they came home from their dance class. And then you hear, this match hasn't even started yet. And you went, oh, Christ, they AEW'd me. I've been AEW'd. I thought I'm trying to keep my eye on nonsense and none of it's even counting, doesn't even exist because both men haven't been in the ring at the same time. Like, I said it 75 times at least. If you guys are going to be rule-carrying wrestling organization, be a rule-carrying wrestling organization. But in about 3 minutes, Jon Moxley's going to come out and no rules apply. So then you can wrestle all over, do whatever, be outside as long as you want. So either just say the match starts when you're there, or then have everybody have to be in the ring and shake hands and do your Ring of Honor. You have to have the Code of Honor. Everybody in Ring of Honor had to shake hands first. That was the gimmick. Like, do whatever, but pick a lane and stay in it.
Yeah, and the stipulations of this damn thing, Brian, the announcers just drive everything just right down your throat. So about 500 times we hear from the announcers, if Sammy Guevara loses, he has to leave the inner circle. So that's a stipulation we know is not going to happen.
And the title?
Yeah, and the title, I guess. And
what
500 times, everybody is barred from ringside.
What does Ethan Page lose? So Sammy Guevara loses twice, and Ethan Page loses. He doesn't have to leave the Men of the Year. He gets to continue hanging out with Dan Lambert. Nothing happens to him.
I guess if Sammy wins, the inner circle gets to pick who they're fighting from the Lambert squad.
The Lamb squad.
Lamb chops.
The lamb chops. I didn't care about the stipulations. I just thought it was a title match, and they started throwing that at me. So, one, the inner circle is still a thing now. We're back to having the inner circle. It exists again.
I guess so. For them, the inner circle kind of just faded away for a minute, but now they're like jamming a stipulation in there. Sammy would have to leave the inner circle. Well, you're kind of telling us right there, the inner circle's back. You're not going to bring him back and immediately pull Guevara out of it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, unless the only thing I thought, because I kind of ran this stipulation or this scenario through my head with this stipulation, that the inner circle could turn on Sammy. And that way he had to leave, and then they pull Ethan Page in or something. There's a turn. But, that's a little technical, a little weird. It's a little far out. That was about the only way I saw that stipulation coming down, is that there was a turn within the inner circle themselves. They gave them the old evolution treatment, when Randy won the title, and it was, and then Batista dropped him on his back, right? Thumbs up, thumbs down, boom, you're out of the evolution. So that was the only chance I saw of that happening.
Yeah, but all goofiness aside, we already balled up we got the stipulations. We got the beginning of this match that was weird. Everyone's barred from ringside. We're going to pull all the goofy shit and throw that to the side for a minute and get back to this match. This match seemed like its purpose was to be a highlight reel for Sammy Guevara. His genuine confidence. You can tell when somebody's just trying to play a cocky heel or a cocky babyface. You can tell when they're just playing it. And in this distance, something's flipped in Sammy. His confidence was genuine this week. And he was just on fire. And this was an absolute highlight tape for Sammy Guevara. Ethan Page, for the first probably 10 minutes of this match, didn't get in any offense.
I mean, this has been the year of Sammy. Everything's coming up Sammy. He's your TNT champion. He's getting married. He's been with the company for 2 years. He's best friends with Chris Jericho. He's defeated MJF. He kicked him out of the inner circle. I mean, come on, man. Sammy Guevara's been the guy. Everything's coming up roses in this Sammy's world. So, yeah, no, he was on fire last night. You could just tell. You get the vibe that he's not messing around.
Right. Again, confidence through the roof, hitting a flawless springboard cutter, which those things are hard to hit. So props to Ethan Page, too, for being in the right place at the right time. He made a Spanish fly actually look like it could have worked in real life.
The physics applied.
Guevara hitting a shooting star press on Ethan Page on the outside. Now, shooting star press, you kind of give him a pass on the catch me thing because those things are hard. Brock Lesnar can tell you what can go wrong with a shooting star press.
That shooting star press, I was not mad at. Here's a couple things that they did right. Sammy got up to the top of the ropes, lickety split. So he was waiting on the top of the rope for Ethan Page to actually stand up. There's an idea. Usually it's the other way. Usually the guys are on the outside of the ring, standing there wobbling around like, oh, I'm so beat up. I'm just going to stand right here on the X and do this spot while this knucklehead
combat wobble.
While this knucklehead climbs up to the top of the ropes and is going to jump on me. And then there's like 36 of them too. That's what always makes it the worst. Sammy was up there pretty quick. He was waiting for Ethan to get up. Here's the other thing they did right. Production was on point. Guess what the cameraman wasn't showing? Ethan Page standing up and getting situated. Guess what they were showing? Sammy Guevara shimmying to the top of the ropes, hitting that shooting star press, and they cut to him landing on him. Perfect. It was done perfectly. That's why it can work. It's just when the cameraman shows Ethan Page standing there and production cuts to him and you're like, why is he standing there? Why is he standing there? Sammy's tying his shoe and climbing to the top of the ropes and like, what the hell? So that's when they suck. This was fine. Obviously, it's one-on-one. You got to catch him. Otherwise, the move doesn't work. Otherwise, Sammy dies.
And it's the end of the Sammy Guevara era. But Ethan Page does get in a little offense here, and they're teasing a razor's edge off of the top rope here. Guevara is able to reverse that, and shortly after reversing that razor's edge, gets the pin, the 1, 2, 3. And afterbirth time, Brian, Sammy is jumped directly after by Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and the Inner Circle make the save, and the Inner Circle is once again complete.
The Inner Circle is complete. There is no beginning. There is no end in a circle. Yes, they are back. They are there. And at the end of the day, nobody really cared. People just wanted to sing Jericho's song.
Right. And Jericho gets on the mic and he cuts a little promo, and the meat and potatoes of it is it's going to be Page, Sky, and America's top team, whatever members Inner Circle chooses, versus the Inner Circle in a Minneapolis street fight at Full Gear. And my question to you, Brian, is what's the difference between a Minneapolis, an Indianapolis, fucking Metropolis, a fucking Gotham? What's the difference between these street fights? Could you tell me? Is this one gonna take place at the fucking Lake Minnetonka or whatever with Prince on a motorcycle in the background?
Well, see here, the Minneapolis street fights, how they differ from the Chicago street fights is the Minneapolis street fights take place in Minneapolis, and the Chicago street fights take place in Chicago.
I should have known.
That's the big difference between them. Yeah, it's just a cheap pop. Because they've never had a Chicago street fight, in Dallas. I challenge to do a Chicago street fight next week in Dallas. Let's just challenge them to a street fight. But yes,
just
even
call it a street fight?
They want to go with the cheap pop. They get to say where they're at in Minneapolis. Now they can. It's going to be repeated over and over again. Minneapolis street fight, as it's shared and reported through all of the Fightful Selects and Bleacher Reports, as we spoke about earlier. And guess what? Then where's your head going to go? Where's AEW at this week? Minneapolis. There you go.
We go in the back. Tony Schiavone is just all over the place tonight. He is in the back with Brian Danielson and Eddie Kingston, who will be facing each other in that tournament thing they're doing. And they're going to fight on Rampage. And Eddie Kingston, man, another one. Promos are on point, but that's not any news. Eddie's been popping Zoloft so he doesn't murder people, basically.
Yeah.
And
his promos, they'll draw you right in. And we're going to step back for a half a second. We got our buddy Jack here in the chat, and he says, what the hell's a Chicago street fight? Is that where they hit you with deep dish pizzas? So they need to incorporate, Jack. They need to incorporate something
from the city they're in. So yeah, Chicago would have to be deep dish pizzas. It's the only thing, or hot dogs. And
Minneapolis
but
could use
Minneapolis, throw your ideas at Minneapolis. Let's see what we can see at Full
Well, I mean,
Gear.
like everybody came from Minneapolis, right? You got the Legion of Doom. Was it Hulk Hogan? You got all these guys. Kurt Hennig. Incorporate some old wrestling memorabilia into the gimmick, into the main event. But anyways, yes, that was pretty funny. Hit him with a deep dish pizza in Chicago. And as you were saying, Eric, Eddie Kingston's promos are amazing, even when they're pre-recorded backstage nonsense. And that's what this was.
Yeah.
It was just a quick thing, but I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, Kingston, he's popping Zoloft. If he doesn't pop his antidepressants, he's gonna kill people. And he is just heated. He's heated that Bryan Danielson's gonna talk about hard work and come ups, and he has not walked a mile in Eddie Kingston's shoes, so he doesn't know anything about hard work. But Bryan Danielson gets all fired up. He put some emotion into his promo. Giving Kingston props, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. We'll see what Bryan Danielson can pull out of Eddie Kingston.
I think you're going to mix two different styles. I'm sorry. You're going to mix two different styles to get a good match. It is the possibility, because Bryan Danielson being so technically sound and Eddie Kingston being so aggressively sound, if that's a thing, right? Being so in your face and can take a hit, can sell well, and can do these things. I think you can see something going on there. You get a brawling, technical hybrid. I think it might work.
Right, and we're right back at it. Shivani now is with the Lucha Brothers, and Penta cuts an entire promo in Spanish and doesn't even let his buddy Alex translate it, because Ray Phoenix there jumps in and roughly translates it into they're challenging FTR to a fight at Full Gear.
Well, there you go. And the FTR won the titles but those are the AEW titles, right? They came out and they were the Masked Men. Was that the AAA titles they had?
I believe it's the AAA. They look like they're made out of styrofoam, but I was trying to determine what flag was on those belts, and it could only be Italian or Mexican, and I am going to go with the odds here and say they're the Mexican flag on those titles.
Yeah, leaning on the AAA titles. So they took those titles from them. Interesting. So
where have we seen this gimmick before, Brian?
What's that?
With someone holding multiple sets of belts and another person going to Mexico and taking those belts away, or going to another promotion. Does this have a little Kenny Omega Christian feel to it?
Yeah, a little belt collector gimmick going on here with things being traded around. These other poor wrestling federations, or whatever you'd like to call them, organizations that get their titles, at least their titles on TV, I guess, but it doesn't even get to be in their organization. Like AAA's down there without a tag team title. Their Triple Crown title, or whatever it is, Super Champion, is Kenny Omega. He goes down there about once every 6 years and defends it. Like, I guess he's let him run around with it. The TNA Championship was on AEW for about 8 months. It finally Christian finally jobbed it off last week on their pay-per-view and got rid of that, so he doesn't have to carry that around anymore and not be on their TV, so God bless.
Yeah, and but either way, it's nice to see FTR actually getting a little recognition now. They were just constantly, for months and months and months, getting buried by the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks didn't want them in the conversation, and for good reason. So yeah, it's nice to see FTR. Hopefully they get a little more TV time. Hopefully they get a little more action, and hopefully they get a little more recognition.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they can get out there and defend that title in AAA a little bit or something, and kind of get moving around and get some internet gimmicks going for them too. That could help them out.
And we move on, Brian, to our women's match of the night. This was a sleeper. This was one where I thought I was going to absolutely hate it. Wasn't too bad. This was Serena Deeb versus Sheedah. Sheedah's still trying to get her 50th win, and Sheedah's the aggressor in this one. Usually Sheedah's a little more reserved, but she's going hard against Serena Deeb. It feels like real heat between these two. But this turns out, just like the previous match we were talking about with Sammy Guevara, this was a highlight reel match for Sheedah. She was just going off the chain on this bitch.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't excite me. It wasn't a bad match. The technicals, they were technically sound. They both can wrestle. You just had nothing invested in them, right? And that's where I stood on that.
Precisely.
This Sheedah and the 50th win thing, I thought they could stretch it out a little further. They should have worked it so the 50th win maybe is the culmination of the tournament. Somehow she keeps getting, like, by, or they could have manipulated it somehow, right? It's professional wrestling. You do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
Keep having her lose, but then having the other opponent not make it in, and then she gets put back in the tournament or something along those lines. And then had her get her 50th when she won the title or something and keep stretching it out. But they just give it to her last night finally, you know. Just very, like, ho-hum. She's been carrying around the broken, plaque that she lost the first time. And I thought that was great when she didn't win it the first time, that they stretched it out, that they were going to stretch it out, but they just kind of pushed it off about 2 weeks. That was it.
Yeah, and that's about it. You hit the nail right on the head. This was a very technically sound match, but just I had no investment in it. Really, I don't give a shit when Sheedah gets her 50th victory. It's fun to watch Serena Deeb. She knows how to make people look good in the ring. She made Sheedah look like $1 million. Sheedah ends up getting the pin after a few reversals and pen attempts here, and she gets her 50th victory. Serena Deeb just goes ape shit and attacks Sheedah after the match, beating her with a chair, putting her into submissions, and the refs and Jerry Lynn come out and make the save.
Yeah, it's a big deal when Jerry Lynn comes out. I mean, he's going to come out with chairs swinging, and the referees are out there, and you got to separate them because you don't want people wrestling and fighting on a combat show. Combat sports, we don't have that. Don't put your hands on people.
But Brian, you know what time it is. It's time for more Tony Schiavone, and this time he's in the back with Lio Rush and Dante Martin. And Lio Rush can talk. That's always been a strong suit of his. But old Dante Martin, you can tell he's just a green little baby in this wrestling industry. The whole time Lio Rush is talking and cutting a promo on the side L's here, old Dante Martin looks like a deer in headlights. He is just completely lost.
Yeah, Lio Rush as a performer, sure, he's good. He's good. He's better than myself, right? I'm not going to completely take a dump on him here. But I just had nothing invested in him. Now, as a talker, I listened. When he was talking for Bobby Lashley, it was great. Even when he would talk and promote himself, he can talk. He can talk some shit. So to back him up with some guys that might be able to wrestle or some guys that he can take that are green and help bring them up and in a managerial sense, I think is a great thing to do. So we shall see how that rolls and if Dante Martin can get comfortable in copying Lio Rush. The best thing he needs to do is copy everything Lio Rush does while on camera, right?
It's just in this particular promo, Dante Martin's job was to at least stand there and look tough. And he looked scared as shit. He just looked like he just went through the Blair Witch Project and fucking saw somebody standing in the corner. He just looked like he was shitting his dipes right there on the spot.
And Tony Schiavone is just such a classic interviewer that it just works out good. Schiavone's good. As cheesy as he can be, he has the nostalgic voice and the vibe, and his facial expressions when he sells things crack me up too. So you put him in the mix, it can be pretty funny.
Our next match here, we had 10 from the Dark Order. That's Preston Vance, if you're paying attention. He was taking on John Moxley, and this was just a chance for Mox to go completely bananas on an opponent and beat the living shit out of somebody in a match where, like you previously stated, Brian, if Mox is involved, the rules do not apply.
Rules do not apply when Mox is in the ring, and unfortunately for anybody else, they're not going to do anything to protect you. So it sucks for everybody in the match. Mox is going to get watered down and lost in the mix, and because it's always the same, right? Very formulaic. We talked about MJF being formulaic in his promos, but believing it. Unfortunately, Mox is formulaic in his matches and believes it as well, except he is dangerous in what he believes.
So, precisely. So, you can put MJF and the formulaic promos that he believes spot on. And then the other example I would like to put in there, Moxley is a version of Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy thinks what he's been doing for the past 2 years, the same old tired hands in the pockets, the fake kicks, the whoa. Orange Cassidy believes that is the funniest shit to ever exist, even though he does it repeatedly week after week, and the people just eat it up. It's the same exact thing for Mox here, but as you stated, what he does and what he believes in is extremely dangerous. He was working super stiff with Vance here. He Irish whipped him into the stairs here. And I got a little preview of this match before I watched it from Heel Josh over on TikTok. And I saw Preston Vance bleeding like a stuck pig from the face. I thought it was from that getting whipped into the stairs here. Turns out it was from Moxley ripping his mask, biting his head, and then Vance just basically blading the shit out of his own forehead.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it was. It looked like a hot mess for sure. The blood, it was, I guess, well done because it looked like complete chaos to me.
Right.
So I bought in that it was complete chaos. This was 2.5 minutes of time that they gave this match.
Yeah, shortly after Preston Vance blades his forehead, Mox just finishes him off. Makes very short work of Preston Vance here.
And then the way Mox left, it just seemed off to me. Like he was either mad the way that the match went down, he was mad about, or maybe he's just overselling it and I bought it. I don't know. But the way that he kicked through the gate and just walked off instantly didn't seem just seemed different in that. There was no celebration, but maybe he's on such a mission that he can't think about anything else other than the title. He's just single-track mind. But who the hell knows? It just seemed off and different. But like I said, they could be involving the character. I don't know.
Yeah, I bit too. To me, it seemed like Mox didn't really want to work with Preston Vance.
Maybe that's what it was.
He went out there and made a statement. But going into business for yourself and all-inclusive wrestling here, AEW, is not the smart thing to do. So I'm thinking it was probably just part of his gimmick.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably lean towards as well, that I bought what he was selling. He sold it well, and I bought it.
More Tony Schiavone, Brian Rampa. This time he is with Tully Blanchard and FTR. Tully and FTR cut some good promos. These guys can talk. We know that. That's nothing new. And basically FTR has hit the reset button, and they're on their way up to those AEW Tag Team Championships.
All right, more Tag Team Championships. Collect them all.
By the time Cody Rhodes got in the ring and he was cutting his promo, I wasn't really paying too much attention. I had other shit going on in the house, but I'm assuming Cody Rhodes, it just seemed the gist I got from it is that he was apologizing for going Hollywood. He feels people turning on him, and he pays homage to his brother and his dad, and but he won't turn heel. He's not going to throw away the stipulation that he made over a year ago where he won't go for the title. He's not going to turn heel and just go for the title anyway. He's a babyface through and through because he loves his fans.
He loves his fans. He's trying to fight the thing. I think they're actually working us on this. I think we're being worked, and it's all what it is. It's just going to stretch it out. They have something going where the fans are turning on him, and I think it's good. They're not letting Cody instantly turn and go, "You turned on me." What they're saying is I'm going to stay, but he's going to be this reluctant heel. He's going to be a babyface heel. Like, he's going to play the babyface role, and the crowd's going to hate him, but he's going to keep doing, no, I'm going to do the right thing. Nope, I'm going to do the right thing. Nope, I'm going to do the right thing. And I think that's the way they're going to work this. They're doing it on purpose, that he is going to be that babyface heel. It's just there to make the crowd mad, a la John Cena.
Right. And I think it'll work great for Cody. He's really good at what he does. And then if they're handing out awards for most improved, Brian, I can't think of anyone better than Andrade, because when Andrade was signed to WWE, I gave less than 0 shits about Andrade. But Andrade comes out and cuts a promo on Cody and eats him alive, making fun of his neck tattoo and all. And even though you need a translator with Andrade because his accent's so goddamn thick, I love this bastard. I love Andrade now.
He's growing on you?
Big time.
Yeah, in NXT, it was he could perform, but watching him work, or listening to him talk, or the lack thereof, didn't mean anything to me. And then he came over here to AEW, and now it was kind of the same thing in the beginning, and then they added Chavo Guerrero with him randomly, and then now he's like there, but he's not there, and I haven't paid attention. It just so inconsistent, right? But then now his talking and his character are melding together in his physical and his promo, and it's becoming one. It's not 2 separate things anymore. And that was the problem for a while in his NXT and then over in AEW. It was 2 different things. There was this, you could watch him work, but you couldn't figure out like what he was saying and doing promo-wise, or he wasn't doing any. He was just in matches. Now he's kind of getting a little more well-rounded in coming together and being a professional wrestler all in all on what it takes on every angle of it.
And again, he's using a classic formula. Dress super nice, be cocky. He's almost like the Mexican Ric Flair, seems like what he's coming off as.
I was going to say, he fits right in the Flair family, don't he?
Yeah. Oh, Mexa Flair. But the lights go out. The lights go out, and here comes Malachi. Malachi and Andrade attack Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes. Pac makes the save, and we're going to have another candidate for an overrated, underrated, goofy tag team here with Pac and Cody Rhodes.
Only if they make them a team. If they can have a one-off. But if it's team like Pack Your Roads or Pack Your Bags or something they call it, or Pack Your Nightmare, then it's just going to be terrible. But if it's just a one-off, it'll be all right. And same thing with Malachi Andrade, right? Malachi Ilidio or whatever he is. Gonna have that weird tag team.
Idolio Black.
Idolio Black.
But yeah, we'll see what comes out of this. It has the potential to be really goofy, but they're all hell of a performers, and we'll see what this stew turns into.
It'll be a mid-card special, because that's the Cody Rhodes. He loves that 9 o'clock hour.
And I guess, speaking of Stu, I didn't even do this on purpose. Stu Grayson and the Dark Order are taking on the Super Elite, who come out as we talked about before in the news, as the Ghostbusters, complete with their own parody song.
Their own parody song. They've got proton packs. Jim Ross is disgusted by the whole thing. What are you saying? Proton packs in a wrestling match. It seemed as if that change of the gimmick there from the Squid Games to the Ghostbusters seemed like they weren't ready for the effects, and they tried to do their gun shoot off, and they got down on their knees, and they were going to shoot their proton packs, and then the streamers kind of went off haphazardly, and it just didn't really look very well. And then they all shot again, and nothing happened. Like, the guys started shooting, and then they said, okay, we got to finish this thing out here, and just started walking down the ramp, and it was weird. You could just tell it was thrown together. It had a very thrown together vibe.
The entrances were thrown together. This match, it's almost like we were watching a different show once this match started. It's almost as if the Young Bucks as EVPs write their own segment, even if it doesn't match the rest of the show. Um, uh, we got a lot of talking throughout the rest of the show, but the matches were pretty solid. Everyone seemed to work well together. And then this right here, this is just where it, like it's a completely different show again. This was just Cirque de Bullshit, an exhibition of spots just to make the fans go ooh and ah. And this was the circus segment of the show.
Yeah, this had old school AEW, if you can say that for a 2-year-old company, written all over it. I believe, Eric, we described AEW as being like everybody gets to go in and pick out of a bag of ping pong balls with your what's your gimmick tonight and what's your match going to be and how's it going to fit in. And you only got 3 pieces of it, though, out of a 5-piece match. And then you had to fill in the blanks live on the air and just go see what happens. And that was the way their shows were kind of slapped together. Like, everybody grab something and figure out what you're doing tonight. This, again, it was, why are we still fighting this Dark Order thing with the super elite, super clique? What is this about? What does it mean? Who cares? And here we are. Everybody's dressed up in Halloween costumes. The Dark Order's dressed up like cowboys. Who'd have thought? Ghostbusters for the elite, whatever, and here we go. It just felt haphazardly shoved together.
It's exactly what it was. And this was, again, I think the Young Bucks producing their own match here, just wanted to put on a goofy spot fest, and who better to do it with than another faction of goofs, being the Dark Order. And the crowd is just eating this shit up, and they're giving the people what they want. And unfortunately, this isn't gonna stop because the crowd just loves it. They love their spot fest. They love their goofy proton pack booty bumps, and they love Johnny Hungy dressed up like goddamn Bambi and just running around the ring. Just running around the ring like he's snorting cocaine laced with Adderall, and they love it. They're eating it up. What more can you say?
What more can you say besides who was the referee, Eric Todd?
I'm gonna guess it was the corpse himself, Rick Knox.
100%. You had that goofball in the mix too. I don't know how this doesn't come up at all on the AEW storyline. Even in gimmick, right? Even in complete working form, they never push that he's a dirty ref or anything along those lines, that he's on the elite payroll, that he's always their referee. But anyways, this I don't even know, how do you even talk about this match? There was 10 guys running around the ring. Jim Ross hated every second of it. The commentators shit on the elite the entire time and try to, They were just working towards the ending, right? Is all it was for. It was a way to work the ending in. They said, here's the ending, put this in front of it.
I imagine so. I imagine this was all just for the ending, for the big reveal at the end. But, yeah, this was just pure and utter chaos the entire time. And just a little cherry on the chaos Sunday here. Rick Knox at one point gets knocked out so that they can break the rules. This is a elite Young Bucks match with Rick Knox wearing the zebra stripes here. There are no fucking rules. So what's the point of knocking him out so that you can break said rules?
Why not just give him $100 and have him go sit in the corner and turn his back? Like, just be the super elite or something. Be somehow more creative. They could have at least gone for a comedy spot and put that horse's head costume on top of Rick Knox and had him run around like an idiot, like a Three Stooges cartoon. And then, there's a lot of things that they could have done that would have just fit the moment. It didn't have to make sense. It could have just been goofy shit. So, yeah, I didn't see where they were going with this and just the ending. I'm telling you, they said, here's what we want. We want Adam Page at the end to end the show in the ring. How do we get there?
Yeah, and let's just get there. So the entire match, The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes out with the Elite. Everyone assumes because Michael Knock It the Fuck Off is in a fat person suit, everyone assumes Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Nakazawa was Adam Cole's Bay. He was a baby. He was Bay.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. I was too busy being mad at this match. But the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was assumed to be Brandon Cutlet because Nakazawa was in plain view. And at one point, we get a guy in a horse mask who there was a big mystery of who is this, and the Marshmallow Man's dancing around and cheering him on, and the horse mask guy gets a super kick party. The head comes off, and the horse was Brandon Cutlet the entire time. But Brian, if Cutlet is the horse, who's the Marshmallow Man?
Why wasn't Cutlet the horse's ass? I mean, this was the perfect time to make.
Is.
That's what I'm saying. They could have put the horse's ass part of the costume on him. He could have been the horse's ass. But who is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
None other than Adam Cowboy Shit Page, Brian Rampa.
Adam Page, Adam Diamond Dallas Page, Adam Cole. There's too many similar names. I'm going to get tongue-tied here. But anyways, yes, the cowboy himself. He's here, and he's ready to knock your fucking head off.
And Adam Page hits Kenny Omega, I believe it was, with the dead eye. Johnny Bambi Hungy gets the pin. And just to top things off, Stu Grayson dressed up like the guy from God of War. I am lost for his name right now. But video game shit fits right into the mix here. Stu Grayson hits a moonsault right into a catch me spot to top things off, just to top off this old goofy spot fest fuckillery.
And the Dark Order wins over the Super Click or the Elite or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the Elite took an L.
I'm not sure if there's any stipulations involved, but that's what happened. They took the L.
Yeah, and not clean by any means. So, yeah, they never have to admit this one because, Adam Page hit that dead eye.
It was just all about getting Adam Page in the ring with Kenny Omega and the Super Click and the Elite or however, and clotheslining people, giving him the dead eye, and going off the air with him on top because he's the guy right now. If they do all this work with Adam Page and he is not the guy and doesn't win that goddamn title, I don't know what we're doing here.
Who knows? Because they also seem to be pushing that it's very likely that he is back with his Dark Order clique. And I don't know how well the top champion of a wrestling organization, how well it would work to have him associating with a goof troop like the Dark Order.
Yeah, it'll be strange. Maybe there's something in store, but I doubt it. I doubt it. But that was AEW. That was Dynamite. Do you have anything else before we wrap this thing up, Eric, and take her home?
No, that's all I got for this show. So we got to hit our promos.
Yeah, that's that. We'll go ahead and bring it home. Make sure you guys check us out on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc., and so on. Actually, that's all of them. There's no more etc. and so on. Just those four is where we stick at and hang out at. Make sure you guys join us on YouTube. You hit that like and subscribe button. You hit the notification bell. You can hang out here with your buddy Jack and several others posting comments in the live chat. We'll read some of them off if they're funny and they make sense and they make me laugh. Jack's been throwing a few other ones up there, but just didn't get time. They weren't where we were at talking, so we apologize about that, my buddy Jack. But make sure you guys join us every week here, Thursdays. Subscribe to the podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. Share it with a friend. Share it with somebody who's not a friend. And we'll have a hell of a good time. Make them listen. Make them subscribe. Grab their phone. Everybody that subscribes, grab your friend's phone. Grab your wife's phone and subscribe to the podcast that way as well. And we'll double our subscriptions in 1 week. That'll be amazing. We can do that every week. We'll be taking over the world. We're coming after Joe Rogan with a niche wrestling podcast.
We are. We're putting it out there, Spotify. If you want to make us exclusive, Spotify.
Exclusive.
100 million. That's 20% of Joe's contract. We'll take 100 million. It's going to be rough for us to survive on it, but we'll take it.
We'll take it. All right. Once again, guys, all those social media platforms, like, subscribe, share, the KayFabe Smark across the board. And Eric, why don't you hit us with your go home segment there?
And for me, Eric Todd, for Brian Rompo over there in Waterford, Michigan, and for our resident Pitbull Stella Marie sawing logs over here, I have nothing else to say but a hooty hoo. We out the gates.